The Misfortunes of the 14th Century Europe, narrated and made by Eddie Walls II
and James Reynolds. Our question is, in what way was 14th century Europe affected by conflict and disease? The Black Death. The Black Death basically tore apart Europe's social society. The peasants and lower class often found themselves abandoned by both the church and the government, as nobility left for the countryside and the clergymen refused to seek the dead and sick. People found out that they couldn't rely on family and friends, because often the sick were abandoned and left to die. The economy was also affected by the Black Death. Despite the massive numbers dead, the economy improved, as guilds, businesses, and people sought out new memberships. Also, agriculture and trade increased. During this time, many priests refused to give death rites to the sick and dying, often barricading themselves inside the churches. People believed that the Black Death was the wrath from God, and thought it signaled the end of the world, and result the loss in faith in the church and God. Also, the flagellants began to take form, who were a group of religious Christians who believed that physical pain and torture will help ward off the Black Death.
The Europeans of the 14th century was also affected by a long, dreadful war, the Hundred Years' War. The Hundred Years' War was fought by the English and the French. The English wanted land that was part of France, and the French, reacting to this, fought back. The war, however, lasted over 100 years, giving it its name, the Hundred Years' War. The war being fought was primarily fought in France. The Hundred-Year War was very popular on both sides amongst the unemployed and poor knights. Also, the people were also hearing patriotic sermons by the clergy. England was successful at the first battle, the Battle of Crecy, due to the effectiveness of the new technology, the English longbow. However, all that changed when Joan of Arc joined the war for France. Joan of Arc gets credited with putting France on the offensive, and later she was burned for heresy. After the Hundred Years' War, there was consequences. Some of them were destruction of agriculture in France, heavy taxation, especially on peasants, population loss, disrupt trade. The war also stimulated development of the English Parliament. The National Assembly failed in France, and distaste for the French crown, and in both countries nationalism rose.